he makes him into a predator. That's a great story.
Oh, well, crying, they're coming for Blake, but you're the one causing the quake.
Hi and welcome to Blossom Talk. I am Kjersti Flå, and most of you already know what I'm talking a lot about here on my channel, and I will continue talking about today, although there are some people trying to threaten us into silence right now. Of course, I'm talking about Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds. And if you missed my latest song about Ryan Reynolds, I will leave a link in my description. I made a song called Nice Pool, Freedom of Speech for Ryan Reynolds. And to be honest with you, I think it's pretty catchy. And I think at this point, you know, when Blake Lively has pushed all us content creators to spend so much of our time speaking to lawyers, trying to defend ourselves against her subpoena, she's forcing us to work a lot more and just create even more content about her so we can pay our legal bills. So in a sense, what Blake Lively has done is just fueled the fire. Some of you guys have mentioned to me that we should start a GoFundMe for the creators, and I'm looking into that. That might be a possibility. We are speaking to Blake Lively's lawyers at this point, trying to really figure out exactly what they want, because this is so broad, this is so crazy. I saw some people were debating what the language actually means in that subpoena. And there is some misunderstandings here, I think, because the subpoena is saying that they're looking for subscriber information. And that doesn't mean the followers or you guys who have subscribed to our channels. It actually is a legal term for the person who owns the channel. Don't worry, they're not going to go after you yet. But who knows down the line? I mean, these people are ruthless. And of course, we are fighting this and we are in this together. And I think one thing that Blake Lively also has achieved by this is to create an even tighter, stronger community that are more willing than ever to talk about the truth here. And finally, thank you to Josh Boswell over at Daily Mail. He did a story on this. It's the first media outlet to actually cover this, which we all find a bit shocking. But finally, Daily Mail did report on this. They have been one of the very few mainstream media platforms that have actually done a pretty decent job covering this entire drama. I think the other one is probably New York Post, page 6. But the rest has shown us time and time again that we can't really trust their reporting because they're not willing to look at both sides here. Anyways, so this Daily Mail article actually looks at the different content creators, some of them who have been, you know, subpoenaed now, and how it affects people financially. You have to remember some of these people, like Lauren, her real job is helping psychology patients to get help to get their health insurance claims paid. And Ashley, she runs a sanctuary for animals to save animals. These are like really good people that Blake Lively is attacking and threatening with financial ruin, because that is a potential outcome of this. And we just have to face the facts here. This is terrifying for a lot of people. And to force these people now to spend all their free time trying to fight this for their freedom of speech, it's absurd. I was reading the comment section on the Daily Mail article, and a lot of people were pointing out that this is the end for Blake Lively. This is the final straw for people to see who they really are. Remember, you know, they've been accused of being bullies by Justin Baldoni, and now they're doubling down and proving to everyone what they really are. They are real bullies, and people are really starting to see that now. Also, someone sent an email to me saying, you know, that Daily Mail changed their headline here. I don't know if someone pushed them to do that, but their first headline was this: Blake Lively launches shady legal blitz on pro-Baldoni YouTubers in bid to unmask It Ends With Us alleged whistleblowers. As you might know, Andy Signor over at Popcorn Planet is making a documentary. I'm a part of that. A lot of the other YouTubers are a part of that documentary. And he did get the chance to interview some of the people from It Ends With Us. They were wearing masks and they wanted to be anonymous because they're really afraid of what Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds can do to them. And Andy, as you know, has been given the other subpoena as well. They want to look at all his communications. So, of course, for him, it's very important to protect these sources. Anyways, then Daily Mail changed the headline to Blake Lively accused of trying to silence critics after launching a shady legal blitz on pro-Baldoni influencers. I don't want to call us influencers or pro Baldoni. As I said before, I never met him. I don't know Baldoni at all. From what I've heard about him, from what I've seen, he seems like a very decent human being, but I don't know him. And I would say my content isn't necessarily pro Baldoni, it's pro truth. I think it's really important here to emphasize that we're not picking a person here. We are picking the truth. We are following the facts. We are following the evidence here. And that's what we're doing. It's not because we like Baldoni more than we like Blake Lively. It's because we've seen all the evidence and we made up our own minds. Some people are also speculating if people close to Blake and Ryan really hates them and giving them this terrible advice to keep pushing for and doubling down on all these subpoenas and everything, because it's crazy how much money they have spent so far. They have two of the most expensive law firms that they hired, and you can imagine how many of their lawyers are working on this full time. In the docket, where people leave their legal filings, there are over 400 documents at this time, and it's an underestimate to say that they spent $4 to $5 million so far on this. And who's benefiting from all of this? Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds' attorneys. Of course, Justin Baldoni's attorneys as well is benefiting from this. But I think it's kind of mean of them to not tell Blake and Ryan, like, if you want the public to hate you for the rest of your lives, continue doing this and pay us a fortune for helping you do that. Why aren't they just, saying to them, guys, time to calm down here now? But of course, they have their agenda. They want to make a ton of money of this. And that's what they're doing. Anyways, People Magazine did a positive story today for Justin Baldoni. Thank you, People, for publishing this. This is a story about James Brolin. You might know him also as the father of Josh Brolin, the actor, and he's a famous director, and he's married to Barbara Streisand. And he only has really amazing and nice things to say about Baldoni. When they worked together on a short film, he said that he asked so many questions. He was so helpful. But I didn't realize he was learning, because very soon after that, this guy directed his own stuff. He continues to say, I'm so proud of Justin Baldoni because, God, he's written 2 wonderful books on being a man and being courteous and teaching boys not to fear their fears. And now he's directing 3 movies. He started off with 1 episode of Jane the Virgin, and now he's directing 3 pictures and written 2 books and does TED Talks to help people. He also did comment on the drama going on without saying too much. He said, I don't understand what's going on right now, but I hope it works out. To be honest with you, James Brolin, I don't understand what's going on right now either. This is obscene. It's insane what's going on right now. But I'm so happy that Justin Baldoni got this little shout out. I think it probably means a lot to him right now. Anyways, another news story. I'm not going to talk too much about that, but Parker Posey got nominated for an Emmy. Not for being a mean girl in the interview with Blake Lively, but for being a mean girl or mean woman on White Lotus. I've heard so many rumors that she was terrified that she wouldn't get nominated for an Emmy because of my interview that went viral when she was also being a mean girl, like we all saw. But then congrats to Parker Posey, because people didn't really care about that, and they gave her a nomination anyways. Okay, thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, so I have some amazing informants here that's doing a lot of research for me. Some of them wants to be anonymous, and this tip was really amazing, and I think it really points out what's been going on here. So, as I've said before, it all comes back to Ryan here. Blake Lively, I don't think is smart enough to think about these things herself. I'm sorry to say that. But Ryan is very schemy. And as you might remember, I talked about before how he tried to blame the bad marketing and PR From It Ends With Us that his company, Maximum Effort, was responsible for. He tried to blame that on Justin Baldoni, of course. And now I didn't remember this, but now I realized that he blamed other failures too on other people. Like, for example, do you remember how much backlash Blake Lively got for the wardrobe of It Ends With Us? In the beginning, there were so many TikTok videos talking about her horrific outfits. And when Blake Lively was promoting the movie herself, she could tell everyone that most of the clothes were her own. We know also that she spent $600,000 on clothes, and and that was like $400,000 over budget. But anyways, she doesn't want to take the blame, of course, for her bad choices in wardrobe. So they're making this guy, Eric Damon, take the blame. So this article was published in the Hollywood Reporter 2 days prior to the premiere. And it's an interview with Eric Damon, who was responsible for wardrobe and who also worked with Blake Lively in Gossip Girl. I think he worked with her for 6 years or something like that, or for 6 seasons on Gossip Girl. And he's interviewed here about the backlash for the movie. And it says here in the article that Damon brushes off the concerns and says, and is honestly thrilled that there's just so much buzz around the looks themselves. He's trying to spin it into something positive, that it made people talk. He's saying that the first big conversations were around Lily and Lily's style, and that we really wanted that to feel very, very special and one of a kind, with sort of a distinct, fresh perspective that felt idiosyncratic to her personality, and also what Blake was going to bring to the table. She's a fashion icon. He says she's a very strong-willed, self-empowered woman, and I think it was very important not to lean into clothing where it felt more delicate. He's saying that my point of view is that when people actually see the context of the clothing and how it's actually put together in the scenes, how Blake carries it as Lily, I think people are going to be thrilled and very excited. Well, they weren't. They weren't thrilled about this. As you know, she did exchange a lot of the people working on the movie with her own people. And I think this guy is one of them for sure. I mean, why would Justin Baldoni go with a guy from Gossip Girl? That would be too random. But anyways, the criticism on TikTok continued. People thought the clothing were horrendous. So the fact that Blake Lively, of course, is accusing Baldoni of the smear campaign, it's so ridiculous in terms of this as well, as I spoke about before, because the backlash against her, the choice of her being Lily Bloom, and the choice of her wardrobe choices started way before. In June, when the first pictures were released, people were going bananas on TikTok, like saying, this is a joke, this is the worst wardrobe I've ever seen, it feels like a prank, someone said. And Colleen Hoover also came out and defended the wardrobe choices. She said in this article on to E! Online, I loved it. I love the energy they brought. I love the passion they brought. I love that my book talkers cared enough to get angry about it. Yeah, maybe like we should take a lesson here. People are at least talking about you, even though it's only negative stuff. They are talking about you, and that's the way Colleen Hoover was explaining this. That it was kind of a good thing. So far, no one has the guts to blame Blake Lively for this. The backlash on TikTok continued to happen in real time over and over again. And you have to remember, none of us were talking about the backlash at this point. I wasn't talking about this. None of the other YouTubers, I think, were talking about this. This was a TikTok thing, especially by book talkers who were Colin Hoover's original fans. They were the ones talking about this. And as you know, Ryan Reynolds is a marketing genius, but he could not get control over these TikTokers who were hating on the movie, hating on the wardrobe, hating on Blake Lively as the choice of Lily Bloom, and he couldn't do anything about it. So the person who sent me this pointed out to me, why did Blake and Ryan not go after TikTokers and subpoena them? Because if there was a smear campaign, it must have originated already back then and created by these TikTokers. Why did they not receive any subpoenas? Why is it only YouTubers? So again, what could Ryan Reynolds do about this? Blame it on someone else. Here's a story in The Wrap from August 14, saying it ends with us marketing underplays domestic violence, triggers TikTok controversy. I've never been more disgusted. It seems there were two separate agendas, one fan says, on Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni's domestic violence drama. So again, why are they not going after the original smear campaigners here? Why are they not going after these TikTokers who sparked this conversation, who started talking about the horrible wardrobe, about Blake Lively being a terrible choice for Lily Bloom, about the TikTokers who shared my video everywhere? I didn't know my video had ended up on TikTok, but that's where it went viral. on TikTok. Like this person is saying, Brian's brand is to shock people. The bigger the shock, the more he likes it. He's an agitator. He does the complete opposite of what is expected. What a family-friendly superhero movie. Don't make it PG. Make it a swearing, overly sexualized, overly violent Deadpool. I have a beautiful wife. Don't take flattering shots of her on Instagram. Make her look ugly. My kids are sweet and innocent. No, they're not. Let's make them say foul things and swear. So what shocking opposing angle would Ryan take to blame everything on Justin? Well, to make this guy who's known to be a feminist, who is doing TED Talks to make people improve themselves, who challenges beauty standards and stereotypes, who's trying to be a good example for men all over the world. What does Ryan do with that? He makes him into a predator. That's a great story. Can you imagine the fall from grace? And this person is saying, I'm just alleging these things, as you know, that because Ryan was so dependent on TikTok to generate his own wealth and build his personal brand and his business, he couldn't possibly bring TikTok into the smear campaign, but he could blame it on YouTube content creators. Everything comes back to Ryan Reynolds. And if you, as I said, if you missed my song to Ryan Reynolds, I have linked it in the description. I think it's pretty spot on and quite catchy, to be honest with you. Anyways, thanks for watching, you guys, and thank you for all your support. It means so much to me right now, especially now. It is a little challenging these days because, you know, this whole subpoena thing is taking up a lot of time. And let's be honest, no one wants to find themselves in that situation. And my heart really goes out to all the other smaller creators as well that are in this position. And some of them are by themselves, you know. That's very intimidating and feels very threatening. Anyways, that's it for me today, you guys. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do. And hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode of Flawsome Talk. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye.
You mocking, you sue, then say what a blame. But the punchline's tired and we're not playing your game. Freedom of speech, unless it's for us, then it's subpoenas and PR disgust. You built an empire on being the guy who makes fun of others while telling a lie. Nice bull's a mirror held up to you, a slick talking mask, but we see through. So say it's for Blake, say it's for love, but bullies don't fly just cause they wear gloves. Nice bull, what did I? Suing the truth with a wink in his eye.
From 100% breathable cotton for the next 2 minutes, only $19.95.